This is the last method we're going to be learning or reviewing, the grouping method. The grouping method is effective when you have 4 terms in a polynomial and how you can factor them through grouping. Now again, this IXL section is Algebra 1 section AA7, and I'm going to show you some examples first. So we're going to do 3 examples on this one. Oops. So example 1 is 3x squared minus 2x plus 12x minus 8. Now the first step you do is you group the first 2 and the second 2 terms. Once you do that, you go ahead and you find the GCF of the first group. So 3, 2, and that's just 1. X squared and x, they both have an x, so you can take out an x. What's left is a 3x minus 2. I do the same thing in the second grouping. So I start with my plus here. And 12 and 8, the biggest number going into that is 4. Because 4 can go into 12 and 8, and they don't both have a variable, so I'm going to leave it. So 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3x, and then minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. So the way to see if you're on the right track or not is, do these 2 parentheses groups match? If they do, you know you did it correctly. Hopefully. So you start with what you did not have. So we had x and this plus 4 that's not in the groups. That's what I'm going to write in this parenthesis set. I'm going to do x. I can take that part off. So x plus 4. And then I'm going to write one of these down. Only one. 3x minus 2 because they're both the same. And that is my final answer. Not too difficult. So I'm going to do another problem, number 2. This one's going to be x to the 5th plus x minus 2x to the 4th minus 2. So we're going to go ahead and group again. So we group the beginning and we group the last 2. Now notice when you have a minus here, you will have to change what's in your groups. So I'm going to change this in blue. So this was a minus. This last term needs to be changed so that we're not changing the whole thing, because I'm basically factoring out a minus. But because I'm putting these parentheses, I'm factoring out of both terms. So that makes this a positive now. Now that I have that, I can go ahead and do my GCF. So in this, both of these terms have an x, and I write what's left. X to the 4th plus x divided by x is 1. Remember to put that 1 there. Minus. Then I have both of these terms have a 2 in common, but no x's, and I write what's left. X to the 4 plus 2 divided by 2 is also 1. Again, to check to see I was doing it right, both of these are the same, so I know I'm correct. And I'm going to take what's on the outside of my parentheses and put those together in a group. Oops, again I did that. So I have x minus 2, and then I write what's in here. X to the 4 minus 1. And you know, I'm not going to stop right there, because I'm looking at my 2 factors. I'm trying to see if I can factor them further. Always see if you can factor them further. So x minus 2 I cannot factor further because I see two terms. I see a minus, so I would try difference of squares, but I know the square root of x I can't get. So I'm not even bothered with that. But looking at this part right here, I'm going to see, oh, I have two terms. Remember what that means. Oh, that's difference of squares. So I'm going to do the square root of both if I can, which I know I can. Because x to the 4 square root is x squared. And the square root of 1 is 1. Because 1 times 1 is 1. So I write this down. I got x squared plus 1, x squared minus 1. Now, I have to remember that I did not do anything with this first part right here. This part right here, I must move down in front here. Now I look at it. Can I factor this? No. Can I factor this? No. Can I factor this? I see a minus. I see two terms. And can I take the square root of them? Why, yes I can. So I do it again. I think this is the longest one I've ever done with you guys. I know it is. So here we go. I'm left with x plus 1, x minus 1. And at this point, I can't factor these two. I got to remember though that all these terms that were in the front right here, I have to bring back down. So I have x minus 2, and I have x squared plus 1. And this is my fully factored answer. And that is how you factor using difference of squares. And this was a lot of difference of squares when it was supposed to be about grouping, but you know, it happens. We started off with grouping, we did our grouping method, and we just found out we can factor it further. This one we couldn't, so we just left it there. Now, factoring grouping method, IXL Algebra 1 Section AA7. This is what you need to complete that is related to grouping.